Hello everyone! Today's topic is about something which seems and sounds simple enough to achieve, and yet is something that manages to elude most of us for the better part of our lives, and simply put, that is the ability to feel good now. It's easy enough to say, I choose to feel good now. However, there's a far more to choosing to feel good now than just saying these words out loud to ourselves or thinking them. Have you ever been repeatedly the victim of your own self-sabotage? Have you ever wondered why this was the case? Before I answer those questions, let me ask you another one. What are the two prime motivators in life? Every one of you watching this video already knows the answer to this question, so play along with me here. I'll ask it again, and if you talk to the screen, I'll hear you, I promise. What are the two prime motivators in life? Ah, that's correct. Someone in the back said it. I heard them. Pleasure and pain are the two prime motivators in life. When we experience being stuck or paralyzed, it is nearly always because the rules which govern our values are in direct conflict with one another. Very often, our values and our rules are not a conscious choice, but are a result of the environment we were raised in or of our reaction to significant emotional events. Our values and rules are strongly influenced by the environment in which we grew up. And remember what I shared from the previous post about the ant and the elephant? The programming we receive as children, our rules, values, and beliefs, come from other people's models and views of the world. These are not our own values. This means what? Well, it means that our values and the rules we've put in place to govern those values are held in our subconscious mind. They are so deeply ingrained in us that we are not consciously aware of them, nor are we aware of the fact that the rules we have in place around these values, which in turn govern them, when, why, and how often we get to, for example, feel good now, are nearly impossible to achieve on a consistent basis. That's where the self-sabotage comes into play. Again, remember the ant and the elephant? When your ant and your elephant are walking in different directions, it is because they are operating on rule sets, i.e. programming, which is in direct conflict with one another. In other words, our programming is working against the goal we are trying to achieve. Self-sabotage, then, is the only option left that our internal system has to resolve the cognitive dissonance created internally between the tug-of-war going on between our conscious and unconscious mind. When it comes to really drilling down and understanding what our individual values are, doing an audit of our psychology is incredibly enlightening. I did one for myself in connection with this class, and I found out that I have two types of values, as most people do. The first type being away from values, meaning that these are values that move me away from experiencing pain. The second type are towards values, meaning that they move me towards experiencing pleasure. Again, you would think it would be easy to meet the requirements we've unconsciously set up around our towards values, and alternatively, difficult to meet the requirements we've unconsciously set up around our away from values. But generally speaking, this is not the case at all. Most of us have unconsciously programmed ourselves so that our away from values, the ones we don't want to feel, are incredibly easy to trigger and experience. Imagine for a moment a field of those naval mines that you see in old war movies. You know, the round bombs that float in the ocean that have all those little spikes and protrusions from the outside of the bomb. One little errant gust of wind which happens to blow just a little too hard, which then happens to move a piece of wood floating in a sea in the wrong direction, which then accidentally happens to oh so gently bump into one of those mines, and before you know it, boom, right? Alternatively, most of us have unconsciously programmed ourselves so that our towards values, the ones we most want to feel and feel more of more regularly, are incredibly difficult to trigger. The rules governing this particular part of our programming are a combination of something as ridiculous as standing on our heads while crossing our eyes and simultaneously wiggling our ears and nose. Are you beginning to understand the problem here? The circumstances we've unconsciously laid out for ourselves, which must be met in order for us to allow ourselves to feel good now, can take an act of God to achieve. At least that's what it feels like. It brings to mind for me a scene from the movie called Faster, where there's a guy doing yoga, and the yoga routine that he's doing is so difficult, complex, and complicated that only 10 people in the world can successfully complete that particular yoga routine. I'll include a link to that short clip for you below so you can see it for yourselves to better understand what I'm talking about here. One thing I'm extremely grateful for is the fact that this class taught me how to identify my values, both sets of them, to discover the order of their hierarchy, and to articulate their governing rules. This gave me a map, which then further helped me to understand why I do what I do. It also helped me to spot patterns, loops, and conflicts between my values and my rules. And this is such an important exercise because armed with that knowledge, going through this class also taught me how to then literally rebuild my own psychology in a way in which my rules and values no longer conflicted with each other, but reinforced and supported the positive outcomes and changes in behavior I've been working on and striving toward for so long. Life is far too short to short-circuit our ability to experience joy, happiness, and gratitude. Wouldn't you agree? I've been working consistently on being able to feel good now for the past year and a half, and although I'm not perfect in my practice of it yet, I am so much better at it now than I was a year and a half ago. I cannot begin to tell you how much this one lesson literally completely changed my life. I love being able to feel good now and to be able to consciously experience it every single day. I wake up and I look back at my life and I'm continually amazed at how much happy I am consistently. I honestly wish I had found this class 20, 30 years ago. I will leave you with this quote from Gandhi, who says, "Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny." My final questions for you today are, do you know what your values are? And if not, isn't it time you found out? Until next time, thanks for watching.